If your Switch has been collecting dust, that ends today. 2026 is absolutely stacked with cozy games, tea-brewing frogs, vampire farms, ghost bears, and serial killers hiding in your town. Yeah, it's wild. Here are 30 upcoming cozy games you need to know about. Froggy Brews is a cozy, 2D, hand-drawn narrative game developed by Malaysia-based Komodo Range Studio, and it's heading to Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. You play as Froggy, a tea-loving frog who returns to their old neighborhood of Bloomville, a place that's changed a lot since you left. The core gameplay loop is all about brewing tea. You explore lush, colorful biomes outside your little shop, forage for unique ingredients, and then craft custom blends that match each villager's taste profile. It's not just a vibe, though. There's actual strategy in how you combine ingredients. Each customer you serve carries a story, and through brewing the right cup, you start uncovering the quiet struggles people in the neighborhood are hiding. The game's charm is in how it uses tea as a kind of emotional bridge. You're not just making drinks, you're holding the community together, one cup at a time. A demo is already available on itch.io and Steam, so you can try it right now. If you played the original Cozy Grove, you know exactly what you're getting into, and Camp Spirit turns it up. This sequel from Spryfox puts you back in the boots of a spirit scout, this time stranded on a mysterious island after a bus crash. The island is full of ghostly bears who are lost and troubled, and your job is to help them find peace. Each bear has a full story that unfolds slowly over many play sessions, which gives the game this lovely, long-form storytelling quality. You craft, you fish, you build out a campsite, you decorate, all the classic comfort food mechanics are here. There's even asynchronous multiplayer, where you can exchange gifts with other players without needing to be online at the same time. On Switch 2, it runs at 4K docked with improved frame rate. The watercolor art style is stunning, and the whole thing has this genuinely kind energy where the game just wants you to be nice to fictional ghost bears. It works better than it has any right to. Croakwood is a cozy city-building simulation from Texel Raptor, where you're building a little frog village from the ground up. The concept sounds simple, but the depth here is real. You design structures, plan out your town layout, unlock new buildables, and take care of your frog townsfolk as the community grows. You're also exploring an ancient forest filled with secrets, so it's not just about placing buildings and calling it a day. There's a whole world to discover around your village, and the mysteries buried in the forest give you reasons to keep expanding and exploring. The visual style is colorful and charming, with chunky little frogs going about their business in the town you've shaped for them. It draws comparisons to Animal Crossing in structure, but leans harder into the sandbox building side of things, giving you more control over how everything comes together. Momento is one of the most interesting concepts on this list. Developed by a team of 3 parents from Brisbane, Australia, it's a cozy room decorating game with a twist that actually matters. You start in a childhood bedroom and have to decide which objects to keep and which to throw away. Those choices ripple forward through time, influencing what kind of life your character ends up living, all the way from childhood to adulthood. The environments evolve based on your decisions, and there are branching narratives that play out depending on the paths you chose. There are 2 modes, a story mode for the full emotional journey, and a creative mode if you just want to decorate without the narrative pressure. The game also has hidden puzzle elements. You can interact with objects in the environment in ways you wouldn't expect. The tone is warm and meditative, and for a game made by just 3 people, the scope of what it's trying to do emotionally is genuinely impressive. BioEden. In this relaxing management adventure, you play as a keeper sent by the Cosmic Collective to restore life to a barren world that has lost its ecosystems and wildlife. Instead of focusing on farming or combat, the game revolves around building interconnected domes, managing resources, and creating self-sustaining habitats where extinct animal species can thrive once again. As you gather DNA, revive creatures, and carefully balance factors like temperature, humidity, vegetation, water, and power networks, each dome slowly becomes part of a larger living ecosystem. Exploration also plays a role as you uncover the mystery behind the planet's collapse while purifying lakes, recycling old structures, and transforming wastelands into vibrant natural reserves. With its colorful Solarpunk art style, isometric perspective, relaxing pace, and emphasis on environmental restoration rather than survival, Deer & Boy is a cinematic platformer from French studio Lifeline Games, and it tells its entire story without a single line of dialogue. You play as a runaway boy who gets lost in the wilderness and stumbles upon a frightened fawn. The 2 of them slowly form a bond, and as you progress through the game, the fawn literally grows up, going from a fragile baby deer you need to protect to a powerful companion that changes how you move through the world and solve puzzles. That mechanic of the companion growing and evolving is what makes the game stand out. Early on, you're protecting the deer. Later, the deer is helping you traverse terrain and reach new areas. Everything is communicated through visuals and music. No text, no voice acting. The 3D environments are movie quality, and the whole thing has this animated film quality that makes it feel less like a game and more like something you'd watch at a festival. Releases June 23rd. Lou's Lagoon is a cozy open-world adventure about running a seaplane delivery service across a tropical archipelago. Your Uncle Lou has mysteriously disappeared, and you've inherited his operation in the Limbo Archipelago, which means flying between islands, gathering resources with a gadget called the Swirler 2000, delivering goods to island communities, and slowly piecing together what happened to Lou. The game blends exploration with base building, crafting, fishing, and aerial minigames like races and obstacle courses. You can fully customize your character and upgrade your seaplane with new skins and functional parts that let you reach more distant islands. Every island has its own ecosystem and characters, and secrets are buried in the corners of each one. The traversal system is genuinely unique. Most cozy games keep you on the ground, and having a seaplane as your main way of getting around gives the whole thing an adventurous, breezy feel. Wild Chorus is a nature-themed cozy game announced at Wholesome Direct 2026, still without a confirmed release date. The game puts you in the role of a nature observer in a rich, handcrafted natural environment, and the loop is built around watching, listening, and documenting the wildlife around you. It has photography and documentation elements. You're cataloging the species you encounter and learning about the ecosystems they inhabit. The art direction is beautiful, leaning into lush, detailed natural environments that feel alive. It's the kind of game that rewards patience and attention, where sitting still and waiting for an animal to show up is part of the experience. Think of it as the antidote to games that demand constant action. No firm date yet, but the vibe is already immaculate, and it's definitely one to wishlist. From the developers of Cast and Chill comes Wild and Chill, a cozy wilderness survival game set in the Canadian and Alaskan backcountry. Where Cast and Chill was about fishing, this one shifts to land hunting, fishing, trapping, foraging, crafting, and cabin building. You can play solo or with up to 4 players in online co-op, which makes it one of the more multiplayer-friendly cozy games on this list. The survival elements are there, but the tone is completely relaxed. You're not in danger of dying constantly. You're just managing your belly, keeping your firewood dry, and building the most comfortable cabin you can in the wilderness. The whole thing has this kind of campfire warmth, where difficulty takes a backseat to atmosphere. You set your own pace, choose your own goals, and the wilderness just unfolds around you. No release window yet, but it was just announced, so it's probably a 2027 thing at the earliest. Solarpunk is one of the most anticipated cozy games of the year, built by just 2 developers at Cyberwave in Germany, and it already had nearly 1 million Steam wishlists before launch. The game is set in a hopeful, high-tech world of floating sky islands, and you can play solo or in co-op with up to 4 players. You build your home in the sky, grow crops, craft gadgets, raise animals, but the energy system is what sets it apart. You generate electricity using solar panels and wind turbines, and actual weather conditions affect how much energy you produce. That means you need to plan ahead, store energy in batteries, and think about sustainability in a way that feels genuinely thematic. Your airship is the other big selling point. You build it piece by piece and fly it between islands to find new resources and biomes. It's already out on Switch 2, and reviews have been very positive. The original TOEM was one of the most charming cozy games in recent memory, a black and white photography adventure where you solve puzzles by taking pictures in clever ways. TOEM 2 keeps that core DNA, but adds platforming. Your photographer character can now jump and climb, turning the whole thing into a hybrid platformer where exploration and photo-taking are equally important. You're still looking for hidden details, still helping locals with their problems, still documenting the world's little wonders. But now, there's more vertical space to explore and more ways to reach interesting vantage points. A demo shadow dropped at Wholesome Direct 2026, so you can try it right now on PC. The Switch release window hasn't been confirmed beyond 2026, but given the first game was on Switch, this one almost certainly is too. Colorbound is a puzzle platformer with one of the most creative mechanics on this list. You play as Anku, a kid on a mission to reunite his late grandfather's scattered band of musicians. And you do it by using color to reshape the world around you. As you journey through diverse landscapes, you collect colors onto a palette, then paint objects in the environment to solve puzzles. Different colors have different properties. Some make objects lighter so they float, others make things heavier so they drop down. Combining these behaviors is how you get through the terrain. The overworld has a variety of biomes and puzzle types, and the emotional core bringing a family of musicians back together to play one last time gives the whole journey real weight. The art style is vibrant and expressive, and the puzzle design looks genuinely inventive based on the footage shown at Wholesome Direct. Releases August 22nd. Out of Words is a stop-motion co-op platformer from developers Kong Orange and Wiredfly, published by Epic Games. You play as two children, Kurt and Carla, exploring a colorful, handcrafted world called Vocabulantis, in a story about the very first time they held hands. Every single thing you see in the game is physically crafted by hand, giving it a texture and warmth that's hard to describe. It genuinely looks like a living puppet show. The gameplay is co-op only, either local couch co-op or online cross-platform, and you work together to solve puzzles and pull off platforming stunts. The emotional framing is about connection, vulnerability, and what it means to reach out to someone. It's being compared to It Takes Two and Journey for its narrative co-op approach, which is very high praise. Confirmed for Switch, 2 in 2026 or early 2027. Village in the Shade looks like a cozy farming sim on the surface. You move to a hand-painted Japanese mountain village called Kagatsu. You plant crops, you decorate your home, you watch cherry blossoms with neighbors, you participate in summer festivals. All the good stuff. But the game makes one thing very clear from the start. This village has rules. Don't talk to strangers. Don't leave the village. Whatever you do, don't go out at night. That unsettling framing gives the whole thing a dark edge that makes it way more interesting than a standard farming sim. Developed by Nippon Ichi Software, the studio behind Disgaea, and published in the West by NIS America, the game blends the comfort of a life sim with something genuinely eerie underneath. The hand-painted art style is gorgeous. Coming fall 2026 to Switch and Switch 2.
Go-Go Town has been in PC early access since 2024 and has already built a passionate fanbase. And now, it's finally coming to Switch. You're the new mayor of a completely run-down tourist destination, and your job is to build it back up from scratch. The city building mechanics are smooth and satisfying. You zone land, construct shops, hire staff, automate delivery systems with couriers, build subway infrastructure, and attract tourists. But what makes Go-Go Town different from similar games is the chaotic humor layered on top. Things go wrong in funny ways. Managing your growing town gets increasingly hectic, and the game seems to understand that being mayor is both deeply satisfying and kind of a disaster at all times. There's also a new sandbox mode coming at the 1.0 launch for players who want pure, creative freedom without the management stress. Releases July 16th alongside Switch 2. Littlelands is a cozy adventure game where you play as a small creature exploring a world that starts with a simple errand: go fix a broken computer at Grandma's house, and then spirals into a full, mystery-solving adventure you definitely didn't see coming. The world is built around safe zones, where you can farm berries, cook dishes, fish, catch insects, and search for hidden treasures. And then, more dangerous areas, controlled by goblin eats, that test your courage and skill. You build relationships with NPCs by talking to them and completing their tasks, and some characters will teach you new skills or drop hints that open up new areas and adventures. The pacing is genuinely player-driven. You can spend hours just relaxing in the safe zones, or push into the dangerous regions whenever you feel ready. No firm date beyond 2026, but the concept and art style have already caught a lot of attention.
Fields of Mistria has been in early access on PC since August 2024 and has received massive praise. It's been called one of the best farming sims in years, drawing heavy influence from Harvest Moon, Rune Factory, and Stardew Valley, while adding its own anime-inspired character designs and magic system. You move to the town of Mistria, which is recovering from an earthquake, and you help rebuild the community through farming, crafting, socializing, and exploring dungeons. The writing is genuinely good, the characters have depth, and the combat has more weight to it than most cozy farming games. The pixel art looks incredible, and the soundtrack by Hidehito Ikumo is one of the best in the genre. The 1.0 full release is planned for 2026. This is one of the most anticipated full releases of the year for cozy game fans. Farming Camp is an upcoming cozy game that blends traditional farming sim mechanics with a camping and outdoor adventure setup. You're building out a campsite, growing crops, raising animals, crafting gear, and exploring the surrounding wilderness, all with a relaxed, campfire-lit atmosphere that leans into the fantasy of living simply in nature. The gameplay loop rewards routine, but doesn't punish you for ignoring it, so you can spend entire sessions just decorating your camp or fishing by the lake without feeling like you're falling behind. The art style is warm and inviting, and the overall experience is designed for players who want the farming sim loop without a lot of stress attached to it. Details are still light, but it's confirmed for Switch and has been generating quiet buzz in the cozy gaming community ahead of a more formal reveal. The Witch's Bakery is a cozy adventure RPG that immediately draws comparisons to Kiki's Delivery Service. And honestly, that comparison is earned. You play as Luna, a young witch who's just moved to modern-day Paris and opened her own bakery. Her special power is the ability to literally see inside people's hearts and heal their emotions through magic. The game's day is split into 3 phases. Daytime, where you manage the bakery, serve customers, and run your team. Evening, where you explore Paris, build friendships, uncover secrets, and use Luna's magic to help people. and night, where you rest, improve your skills, and decorate your bakery. The structure is tight and satisfying, and the Parisian setting gives it a visual identity that stands out in a crowded genre. Developed by Sunny Lab and published by Silver Lining Interactive. Releases August 2026. My Time at Evershine is the third game in Pythia Games' beloved My Time series, following Portia and Sandrock. And this time, you're the governor of a small town in a post-apocalyptic world, tasked with building it into something worth living in. The core loop should be familiar to fans. Collect resources, build structures, complete quests, form relationships with a cast of characters, and optionally pursue romance. Evershine adopts a more realistic art style compared to its predecessors, giving the world a more grounded, serious look, while keeping the warm community-building mechanics the series is known for. Multiple romance options are confirmed. The game also supports multiplayer, so you can develop your town alongside friends. The My Time series has always had great writing around its NPC characters, and Evershine looks to continue that tradition in a new setting with new stories. Coming to Switch 2 in 2026. Japanese rural life adventure is already out on Switch, and it deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. Originally on Apple Arcade, this pixel art, slow life simulation lets you experience the rhythms of traditional Japanese countryside living. You play as a young woman named Lilia, who arrives in the tranquil village of Frun, and your days are spent planting rice fields, celebrating seasonal cultural events, fishing, cooking, and getting to know the villagers. The gameplay is deliberately unhurried. There's no ticking clock pushing you forward, just the gentle passage of time and the satisfying progression of small town life. Traditional Japanese festivals are a big part of the calendar, and the pixel art captures the look of the countryside beautifully. It's not the deepest game on this list mechanically, but the atmosphere it creates is genuinely one of the calmest gaming experiences of 2026. Moss, The Forgotten Relic is a landmark release for players who never had a VR headset, because, until now, both Moss games were PlayStation VR exclusive. The Forgotten Relic combines the original Moss and Moss Book 2 into one definitive enhanced adventure without requiring any VR hardware whatsoever, coming to Switch and Switch 2 in Q3 2026. You guide Quill, a tiny but brave mouse, through a beautiful fallen kingdom rendered like the pages of a living storybook. The puzzles are environmental, woven directly into the landscape, and the relationship between you and Quill is genuinely touching. She acknowledges your presence, reacts to your guidance, and the whole game is built around this unique bond between player and character. The atmosphere is rich, the art direction is gorgeous, and for anyone who loves adventure puzzle games, this is an absolute must-play. One of the most anticipated ports of the year. Trade Tales is a cozy trading and exploration game where you build relationships with different communities by learning what they need and what they have to offer, then building trade routes that benefit everyone. The core loop is about discovering each town's specialty resources and culture, then connecting them in ways that create mutual benefit. There's a strong narrative layer running through it. The characters you meet in each location have their own stories and motivations, and the trading relationships you build affect how those stories play out. The world is handcrafted and visually distinct, with each area having its own aesthetic identity. It's a quieter, more thoughtful take on the exploration genre, rewarding curiosity and patience over speed and combat. Details are still being drip-fed, but the concept has an audience ready for it. Hela of Mice and Magic is from the team that created the Unravel series, which tells you immediately that the visual quality and emotional storytelling are going to be exceptional. Set in Scandinavian-inspired landscapes, you play as a tiny mouse navigating a world of giant-scale environments, solving puzzles, and being a force for good in a land full of mystery and magic. The game has an open-world structure, and the scale contrast to you as a small mouse in a big, dangerous world creates a constant sense of wonder and vulnerability. The gameplay shown at Wholesome Direct 2026 featured whimsical, open-world exploration with tiny familiars, and the art direction is stunning. From the Unravel creators, you can expect puzzles tied to character movement in creative ways, and a story told with emotional restraint and visual beauty. No release date yet. Moonlight Peaks is the vampire farming sim that the cozy genre has been quietly crying out for. You play as a vampire who's moved to the town of Moonlight Peaks, trying to prove to Count Dracula, your own skeptical father, that a compassionate life is possible even for the undead. The farming mechanics are all here. You tend your gothic farmstead, brew potions, cast spells, manage crops, but the social layer is where it really shines. The town is full of werewolves, witches, and mermaids, and you can build friendships and even romance them. There's a full vampire skill tree, a supernatural dating scene, and mini-games tied to magical abilities. The 3D art style manages to be adorable despite the spooky theme, and the humor of being a vampire who just wants to be a good person and grow vegetables is genuinely charming. Demo is available on Switch right now. Releases July 7th.
Starsand Island is already in early access on PC and Xbox, and the response has been overwhelming. Reviewers are calling it one of the best cozy games in years, with people easily sinking 25 to 100 plus hours into just the early access build. It's an anime-inspired 3D life and farming sim set on a beautiful coastal island, and the scope is massive. 5 professions with full skill trees: crafting, farming, ranching, fishing, and exploration, nearly 100 crop types, over 10 animal species with unique needs and breeding mechanics, and a deeply detailed home building system. You also explore ancient ruins, befriend colorful villagers, and can ride scooters and skateboards around the island. The visuals are vibrant, and the character designs are gorgeous. The full 1.0 release, including Switch and Switch 2, is coming in 2026. And if the early access reception is anything to go by, this is going to be a massive deal.
Walk the Frog is already out on PC and mobile, but Switch players finally get their version in September 2026. The concept is simple and perfect. You're a frog owner taking your frog for a walk. That's it. Except, it's not really just that your frog hops along on its own while you watch and occasionally interact. And the game is really about the quiet, meditative joy of companionship and slow movement through a gentle world. It's built for moments of calm, the kind of game you open when you need 5 minutes of peace rather than 2 hours of engagement. The art is soft, and the sound design does a lot of heavy lifting in creating the atmosphere. On Switch, the portable format feels tailor-made for this kind of tiny, perfect experience. Don't underestimate it just because it's small. September 2026. Grave Seasons is the most ambitious game on this list in terms of what it's trying to do with the farming sim genre. Published by Blumhouse Games and developed by Perfect Garbage, it's a pixel art farming sim set in the town of Ashenridge, where someone is a supernatural serial killer. You've just escaped jail and started a new life, farming, building relationships, and trying to belong. Then, people start dying. The game runs all your classic farming mechanics in parallel with a murder investigation. Growing crops, fishing, mining, selling goods, while you also complete quests to build trust with townsfolk, gather clues, and figure out who the killer is before they take down the whole town. Every choice you make, or don't make, changes how the story plays out. You can even accidentally romance the killer without knowing it. There are no wrong ways to play, and the town reacts dynamically to your actions. Releases August 14th. Hokko Spaces is a sandbox diorama building experience announced as a world premiere at Wholesome Direct 2026, and the concept is immediately intriguing. Where Hokko Life was an Animal Crossing-style life sim, Hokko Spaces zooms in on the act of creation itself, building tiny, intricate diorama scenes piece by piece. Think miniature worlds, cozy rooms, tiny gardens, little street corners, all assembled from a collection of detailed objects with a huge range of creative freedom. The teaser showed beautifully crafted tiny spaces with incredible attention to detail, and the cozy aesthetic is spot on. It's the kind of game that appeals to people who love decorating in games, but want the decoration itself to be the whole point. No release date yet, but the concept has massive appeal for anyone who's ever spent 3 hours in Animal Crossing just arranging furniture.
Witchbrook has been in development since 2018. Yes, 8 years. And 2026 is finally the year it's supposed to arrive. Made by Chucklefish, the studio that published the original Stardew Valley, Witchbrook is a cozy, magical life sim and social RPG set in the seaside city of Mossport. You're the newest student at Witchbrook College, learning spells, brewing potions, flying on a broomstick, and building a life in a city bursting with hidden secrets and supernatural residents. The social and relationship systems look incredibly deep, with romanceable characters and long-running friendships that evolve over time. Seasonal changes affect Mossport's atmosphere, and there are mysteries running through the city that unfold the more you explore. The art direction is gorgeous, detailed, expressive, and alive. Chucklefish is proudly a no-crunch studio, which is why this has taken so long. But every update suggests they've been building something genuinely special. 30 cozy games that should absolutely be on your Switch radar. 2026 has you covered. Drop a comment telling me which one you're most excited for, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all of these as they release.